Chapter 1083. In front of the 9 underworld's royal palace, the emperor was enraged. Blood splattered everywhere and dyed the ground red. Ning Chen staggered and stabilized his body. He raised his hand to wipe off the blood at the corner of his mouth, and he remained silent without saying a word. Why? Behind the royal palace, the voice of the emperor was heard again with unconcealable anger. I dare not disobey the orders of the first Kunyi demon emperor. Ning Chen said softly. Why didn't you tell me? Xianjiuyo said in a deep voice. When he gave the order, the first Kunyi demon emperor specifically told me not to tell master about this. Ning Chen looked at the royal palace and said calmly, since the first Kunyi demon emperor has decided to attack the Howling Moon royal family, the result is unchangeable whether I go or not. It's not worth it to lose a demon emperor for this. Behind the royal palace, demonic aura surged like waves. Within the demonic aura, Xianjiuyo was furious. He took a step forward and entered the royal palace. In front of the throne, Xianjiuyo looked at the disciple outside the palace and said in a deep voice, since it's a fact, I don't want to look into it anymore. I only want to ask you, are there any survivors of the Howling Moon royal family? Ning Chen fell silent. After a long time, he said, yes, the young master of the Howling Moon royal family was sent into the turbulent flow of space by me. I'm here to ask master to save him. Xianjiuyo frowned and said, you can track his whereabouts? Ning Chen nodded and said, when I fought with him, I left a consciousness mark on him. As long as master is willing to help, I'm confident that I can save him. Very well, lead the way. Xianjiuyo waved his hand and the space in the royal palace shook violently. In the blink of an eye, a giant black crack appeared. The turbulent flow of space was so cold that no one dared to approach it. Ning Chen stepped into the palace and looked at the spatial rift in front of him. Without hesitation, he stepped into it. Xianjiuyo's figure flashed and followed behind. In the next moment, the spatial crack in the royal palace slowly closed and disappeared. The turbulent flow of space continued to sweep across the endless void. Danger was everywhere. Even if one entered the mortal world, one would not dare to step in. The space-time laws had always been mysterious and unfathomable. Once one lost their way in the space-time turbulence, it would be difficult to find a way out. Even if experts at the mortal dust realm or even the king realm were able to resist the terrifying tearing force of the chaotic flows of time and space, if they were unable to find a way out for a long time, then they would gradually be exhausted and die from the exhaustion of their true energy and vitality. In the void, Ning Chen looked at the turbulent spatial storm before him and used his heart to sense the whereabouts of the Howling Moon young master. Song Ming's injuries were not light and he would not be able to hold on for much longer. He had to find Song Ming as soon as possible. Otherwise, his painstaking arrangements would be for naught. At the side, demonic qi surged around Xianjiuyo's body. Sovereign Tao pressure swept away all the spatial turbulence, and nothing could touch him. After searching for a long time, Ning Chen shifted his gaze and looked into the distance. He said, I found it. It's to our left. Xianjiuyo nodded. He took a step forward and led his disciple in the direction that the former had pointed out. His sovereign Tao speed surpassed the limits of heaven and earth. In the blink of an eye, he was already 10,000 miles away. Outside the boundless space-time, a green-robed figure covered in blood floated up and down. His eyes were tightly shut, and he had been unconscious for a long time. Demonic qi suffused the Howling Moon young master's body, and he was barely able to resist the tearing force of the chaotic flows of time and preserve his life. However, as time passed, the demonic qi around the Howling Moon young master grew weaker and weaker. Obviously, after being trapped in the void for so long, even the Howling Moon young master who had stepped into the king realm was gradually finding it difficult to hold on. Right at this moment, monstrous demonic qi swiftly approached from the distance. Sovereign Tao pressure suppressed the world. 2 figures could be vaguely seen within the demonic qi. A short while later, Ning Chen walked out. He looked at the green-robed figure within the chaotic flows of time and raised his right hand, forcefully pulling the latter over. He's too heavily injured and his true energy is exhausted. It's slightly troublesome. Ningchen said after carefully inspecting the Howling Moon young master's condition. Let's leave first, Xianjuyo said, and then he brought the two of them back the way they came. Over 2 hours later, a spatial crack opened within the 9 Hell King Palace, and 2 figures walked out. Ning Chen helped the Howling Moon young master to sit on a chair, and a vast amount of vitality poured into the latter's body. At the side, Xianjuyo watched this scene quietly as brilliance flashed through his eyes. He could more or less guess the reason why the Howling Moon royal family was annihilated. The Demon King's heart had always been a sore point for his brother. The Demon King was indeed powerful, and even the heavenly demonic imperial family feared him. Have you found the Demon King's heart? Xianjuyo asked. The Demon King's heart? Ning Chen withdrew his hand and asked in confusion, What's the Demon King's heart? Xianjuyo frowned slightly and said, Didn't the first Demon King tell you about this? Ning Chen shook his head and said, The order I received was to annihilate the Howling Moon royal family. Apart from that, there were no other orders. At this point, Ning Chen looked at the Demon King before him and asked in confusion, What's the Demon King's heart that Master mentioned? An ancient hero, the Demon King of the demon race. Xianjuyo's eyes were filled with nostalgia as he said, That era was very similar to the current situation. There were many geniuses, and among them, a demon-like genius appeared in a small race. He stepped on the geniuses of various royal races and even the imperial family, shocking the world. This person became the Demon King later on. Why isn't there a demon race among the 100 races now? Ning Chen asked in confusion. Because the demon race is not a race. Xianjuyo came back to his senses and explained patiently, In the ancient era, there were endless wars. After the Demon King appeared, many large and royal races chose to submit to him in order to protect themselves, and they were called the demon race. The name of the Demon King began to spread throughout the primordial demon realm. However, after the Demon King fell, the demon race quickly fell apart and ceased to exist. Ning Chen gradually understood after hearing this. He looked at the Howling Moon young master beside him and said, This Howling Moon young master should be the descendant of the Demon King, right? That's right. Xianjuyo nodded and said, The Howling Moon royal race is actually the true descendant of the Demon King. The Demon King's heart has always been in the Howling Moon royal race. However, only the Howling Moon Kings knew about this until the previous Howling Moon King was in danger and his soul was searched. This news was then leaked. I see. Ning Chen sighed and said, Master, the Howling Moon young master's injuries are not light. He needs time to recuperate. I'll bring him back to the residence and take care of him. When he recovers, I'll think of a way to send him out of the imperial city. That's good too. Xianjuyo nodded and said, Be careful. Don't let anyone find out. I understand. Ning Chen replied softly and walked to the front of the wooden chair. With a soft shout, demonic chi spread out from his right hand and engulfed his body. I'll take my leave. Ning Chen bowed and immediately led the Howling Moon young master out of the imperial palace. At the same time, 2 beautiful figures appeared in the 3 imperial city. One was devastatingly beautiful and charming while the other was otherworldly and flawless. Heavenly Lady Xiao Xiao and Witch Tian Exen appeared in the 3 imperial city at the same time. As soon as they appeared, all the forces looked over. In front of the imperial palace, Ning Chen, who had just left the palace, stopped and frowned. Lady Xiao Xiao, why is she here? 13th Prince, how have you been? As soon as he finished speaking, the voice of the heavenly lady came from another direction. It was like a clear spring that refreshed the heart. The witch tribe's saintess? Ning Chen turned around. Another one? Fox Lady Xiao Xiao and Witch Tian Exen walked over from 2 different directions. They were both beautiful but had completely different auras. Lady Xiao Xiao, Lady Tian Exen. Ning Chen smiled and said, Long time no see. I haven't had the chance to congratulate you for becoming the crown prince. Congratulations, Your Highness. Tian Exen said softly. Thank you. Ning Chen replied softly and said, May I know why Lady Tian Exen is here? It's very important. May I know if I can meet the 9 underworld demonic emperor? Tian Exen said seriously. Ningchen nodded and looked at the heavenly lady of the Fox clan. I believe Lady Xiao Xiao is also here to meet my master? Yes. Xiao Xiao nodded and said, Follow me. Ningchen didn't say anything else and led the way. In the 9 underworld palace, Ningchen returned. The guard in front of the palace was surprised and bowed respectfully. Your Highness. Ningchen nodded and led the 2 women into the palace. In the palace, Ningchen walked over and bowed. Master, the heavenly lady of the Fox clan and saintess of the Witch clan are here to meet you. What's the matter? Demonic chi surged in the palace and Xian Juyo walked out. He looked at the 2 and said, Greetings, 9 underworld demonic emperor. Xiao Xiao and Tian Xen bowed. No need for formalities. Just tell me why you're here. Xian Juyo waved his hand and helped the 2 people up. Xiao Xiao and Tian Xen looked at each other. Since it concerned the life and death of the Wan clan, Tian Xen didn't need to be polite. She stepped forward and said respectfully, Demonic Emperor, Tian Xen is here on my master's orders to ask the 9 underworld demonic emperor to stop the Wan clan from being exterminated. Ning Chen's expression changed. The Wan clan? In front of the throne, Xian Juyo's eyes narrowed when he heard Tian Xen's words. He said, Did Emperor Go predict something? The sorcerer race was adept at divining the secrets of the heavens. This was something that everyone in the world knew. The current Emperor Go was even more adept at divining the secrets of the heavens. He was a wise Emperor realm expert. Master only told Tian Xen that the Wan clan is in danger of being exterminated. This danger can only be solved by the 13th prince and the 9 underworld demonic emperor, Tian Xen said seriously. Xian Juyo was silent. In the ancient times, the Wan clan was subordinate to the Phoenix clan and had a deep grudge with the heavenly demon clan. Now that his eldest brother had started to act, the Wan clan was likely to become his next target. 13th prince, I heard that there are 2 girls from the Wan clan who were once your maids. I hope that you can stop this disaster for them, Tian Xen said seriously. Ningchen recovered from his shock and a cold look appeared in his eyes. This time, the heavenly demon royal family had touched his bottom line. He wouldn't tolerate it anymore. Thank you for your reminder, Miss Tian Xen. Ningchen bowed seriously and said, Miss Tian Xen, please go back and tell Emperor Go that I will try my best to deal with the Wan clan. I won't sit back and do nothing. With your promise, Tian Xen can rest assured. Now that this matter is over, Tian Xen won't stay any longer. Demonic Emperor, Tian Xen will take her leave. With that, Tian Xen bowed again to the Emperor in front of the throne and left. Chapter 1084. The heavenly demon ancestral land was filled with demonic chi, and there was silence everywhere. There had been no signs of life for countless years. 3 abnormally powerful auras floated in the depths of the ancestral land. 2 of them were weaker than before. Obviously, the 2 demon emperors had been severely injured in the battle at the Dragon Emperor Mountain and had yet to fully recover. Greetings to the 3 demon emperors. The messenger appeared, half knelt, and said respectfully, The time has come. Do it. Demon Emperor Kun said calmly from the depths of the ancestral land. Yes. The messenger respectfully accepted the order. Wait. At this moment, a similarly dignified voice came from the distant 3rd Imperial City. After a short while, clouds gathered in the sky above the ancestral land as an emperor descended from the heavens. His domineering aura was like 1,000 mountains pressing down, so heavy that it made it difficult for people to breathe. Greetings to the 9 underworld's demon emperor. The messenger was startled when he saw who it was, but he immediately bowed respectfully. 9 underworlds, why are you here? In the depths of the ancestral land, the first Kuan demon emperor exclaimed in surprise. Brother, are you going to attack the Wan race? Xianjuyo asked. Why not? You should know about the grudge between the Wan race and the heavenly demon race. We're already being merciful by letting them live until today, Demon Emperor Kuan said coldly. How can we let the grudge from the ancient times drag on until today? Brother, the heavenly demon race is already worshipped by hundreds of races. There's no need to show off our strength, Xianjuyo advised. 9 underworlds, You haven't been involved in the affairs of the world for a long time. There are many things that you don't know. Don't worry about this. I have my own plans, Demon Emperor Kun said. Within the ancestral land, the herald rose to his feet. Without waiting any longer, he turned and left. Xian Jiuyo squinted his eyes. Brother, are you really going to do this? 9 underworlds, you're the emperor of the heavenly demon race. You should put the interests of the race first. There's no need to care about other things, Demon Emperor Kun said coldly. Since you've made up your mind, I won't persuade you anymore. Goodbye. Demonic chi surged in the void as Xian Jiuyo's figure faded and disappeared in an instant. In the 9 underworlds king's palace, a figure in plain clothes stood quietly, waiting for the result. Before long, demonic energy surged in front of the throne. The emperor returned and appeared in the imperial palace. When Ningchen saw the figure that appeared in front of the throne, he stepped forward and asked, Master, what's the result? Negotiation failed. Xian Jiuyo said seriously, the Luan race's crisis is difficult to resolve. Ningchen's expression turned cold when he heard this. He turned around and walked out of the hall. What are you trying to do? In front of the throne, Xian Jiuyo looked at the disciples who were walking out of the hall and said in a deep voice, Since the first Kunyi demon emperor is unwilling to stop, then I can use my own method to stop this disaster. Ningchen paused his footsteps in front of the king's hall. He calmly uttered these words before continuing to walk forward. Xian Jiuyo frowned. Was his disciple going to go against the Sky Demonic Imperial Tribe? Don't be rash. Before he could remind him, knowing destiny had already disappeared from the prince's mansion and was heading east. Xian Jiuyo sighed in his heart. He took a step forward and was about to give chase. Jiuyo, I have ordered you not to leave the Jiuyo king's mansion. At this moment, thunder rumbled in the 9 heavens. A desolate force spread out. 3,000 small worlds opened up and swallowed the entire Jiuyo king's mansion. In the 3,000 small worlds, Xian Jiuyo looked at the changing space around him. His expression darkened and he said, 8th royal brother, are you trying to stop me? I would like to try. As he spoke, demonic energy surged in the void. A powerful emperor who was surrounded by the aura of time appeared and said calmly. Xian Jiuyo's eyes were cold. He looked at the 8 desolation demon emperor in the void and said, Then I have no choice but to offend you. As soon as he finished speaking, demonic flames surged out. The Jiuyo battle technique appeared again. The majestic demonic aura shook the 3,000 small worlds. Seeing the demonic flames burning around the former, the 8 desolation demon emperor's expression turned serious. Xian Jiuyo's strength was unfathomable. He had been ordered to stop him and could not be careless. With that thought, the 8 desolation demon emperor flipped his left hand and raised his palm. Instantly, thunder rumbled and fell from the sky. Just as the 2 demon emperors were fighting, 3,000 underworld soldiers gathered in the primordial demon realm and rushed to 3 Danger Mountain. In the Luan race's secret realm, a beautiful figure stood quietly in the Qingyu abyss. She looked at the primordial demon realm in the distance and sighed. What was supposed to come was finally coming. The Phoenix clan had been exterminated and the Luan clan had gone into seclusion to avoid the heavenly demon clan's revenge. However, they could not hide forever. She knew that the day of the Howling Moon Royal clan's extermination would come soon. Outside the Qingyu abyss, Dong Yu walked over and bowed respectfully. She said, I have sent most of the people away according to your orders. King Wan nodded and said softly, You guys should go too. Be careful in the future. Don't let the heavenly demon race find you. Dong Yu was silent. After a while, she shook her head and said, We won't go. No, King Wan's expression froze. Before she could finish, her expression changed. Outside the Qingyu abyss, runes circled around and a figure in plain clothes walked out. Without any warning, he appeared out of thin air, unaffected by the realm protection array of the Luan race. Young master! Dong Yu was startled when she saw the person who had come. Soon she recovered and was surprised. King Wan also recovered from the shock. She looked at the young man outside the Qingyu abyss in confusion. How did he do it? Not only did the realm protection array not react, but she also did not notice it. "Greetings, Senior King Wan." Ningchen stepped forward and bowed respectfully. "Mr. Ning, you don't have to be so polite." King Wan looked at him and said seriously, "Mr. Ning, why are you here at this time?" "I'm here to inform Senior King Wan that the Heavenly Demon Race's underworld army is on the way. They will be here soon. Senior King Wan, please be prepared." Ningchen said seriously. "Thank you for your reminder, Mr. Ning. My race is ready. We are only waiting for the moment to destroy everything," King Wan said in a low voice. Ningchen frowned and said, "Senior King Wan, why don't you give up on this place and retreat first? Where there is life, there is hope. The Heavenly Demon Royal family is at their peak and they are hard to defeat. Fighting them head-on is the most unwise choice." A smile appeared on the Wan King's face. He said, "Mr. Ning, this piece of land has borne the weight of the rise and fall of my race for countless years. No matter what, as the Wan King, I must live and die with this pure land. Senior King Wan, is there anything I can do?" Ningchen asked seriously. King Wan smiled and said, "Has Mr. Ning found the secret technique of the Phoenix race?" "Not yet." Ningchen shook his head. "Then forget it. Since the secret technique of the Phoenix race has not been found, Mr. Ning must continue to stay with the Heavenly Demon Royal family. Now is not the time to have a direct conflict with the Heavenly Demon Royal family," King Wan said softly. Ningchen was silent. After a long time, he said, "There is no need for a direct conflict. As long as Senior King Wan allows it, I have a 90% chance of keeping the Heavenly Demon Army at 3 Danger Mountain. However, the condition is that Senior King Wan must give up on this place." Chapter 1085. On Mount 3 Danger, demonic clouds surged and thunder rumbled. Demonic aura filled the sky, shaking thousands of miles. From the demonic clouds in the sky, 3,000 troops of the underworld descended. The heavy demonic aura connected together, making it hard for people to breathe. In front of the 3,000 troops, the Sky Demon Messenger and the South Demon Messenger appeared. In the messenger's hand, the heaven-swallowing flask rose into the sky. The number 1 demonic artifact of the royal family once again displayed its peerless power. A demonic net fell, sealing Mount 3 Danger. A powerful suction force came from the heaven-swallowing flask, forcefully devouring the spiritual energy in the Wan race's secret realm. In front of the green rain abyss, Ningchen looked at the situation in the sky with cold eyes. Dong Yu and Xia Ji stood behind him, unable to hide the worry on their beautiful faces. Everyone knew about the demonic aura of the heaven-swallowing flask. It was the demonic artifact of the first Kunyi Demon Emperor, and it was said that it could devour everything. If the first Kunyi Demon Emperor used it personally, it could even refine a great world. It was extremely terrifying. "Young master," Xia Ji said softly, "it's too dangerous here. You should leave quickly." Ningchen turned around and looked at the girl behind him. He smiled and said, "Don't be afraid. The enemy is in the light, and I'm in the dark. What a good situation. Usually, there won't be such a good opportunity. Tonight, I'll show you what it means to bully others." As soon as he finished speaking, a broken sword that was neither stone nor jade appeared in Ning Chen's hand. The celestial trapping sword appeared with a faint red light. The sword turned, and the celestial trapping sword entered the ground. In an instant, the ground below the Red Luan race's secret realm rumbled. Endless earth energy began to be devoured, crazily rushing towards the sword. Immortal sword, celestial trapping sword. The Luan King's expression turned serious. The treasure of the 4 great immortal realms. The celestial trapping sword appeared. Black flames curled around Ning Chen's hand, and a peerless divine weapon appeared. Baleful aura filled the air, making people go crazy. The celestial trapping sword and the sickly king's reforged immortal swords were majestic. As soon as they appeared, countless sword spirits gathered in the sky, increasing the sword's power. The head of the 4 great immortal swords, the celestial slaying sword, was a peerless divine weapon that suppressed 3 ancient realms. Countless living beings were killed by it. Kill, leave no one alive. In the sky, The messenger looked down at the Luan clan's secret realm. With a single order, the slaughter began once more. With a flip of his palm, he unleashed a powerful palm strike at the Luan race's realm-protecting formation. Amidst an earth-shattering tremor, the formation trembled violently and gradually collapsed. In the next moment, the 3,000 underworld army transformed into 3,000 streams of light and entered the Luan clan's secret realm. In the air, the Luan king walked out. Her long green dress fluttered in the wind. Her peerless elegance attracted the attention of many. The figures of the heavenly devil messenger and the southern head envoy descended from the sky. One in front and one behind, they sealed off the Luan king's path of retreat. "I've been waiting for you for a long time." King Luan looked at the two of them and said in a deep voice, "The fact that Luan king did not leave early has made me see you in a new light. However, your persistence will not change anything. After today, the Luan tribe will no longer exist in this world," the messenger said indifferently. "If you can do it, then come." The Luan king raised his hand, and the green starlight around him shone brightly. His unparalleled power was close to that of a peak-stage king warrior. "1 against 2, Luan king, how many moves can you withstand?" As soon as he finished speaking, the messenger's figure flashed, and a vast amount of palm energy shot out. "Great Sword Realm!" At this moment, an almost inaudible voice rang out. In the blink of an eye, 10,000 swords soared into the sky. Boundless sword light filled the sky, and the aura was unparalleled. Those with weaker cultivation were immediately sent flying hundreds of meters away. Seeing this, the expressions of the heavenly devil messenger and the southern head envoy changed slightly. There were more experts? When the Great Sword Realm appeared, the entire Luan clan's secret realm turned into a sword realm. The sword intent had no beginning and no end. The crisscrossing sword light continued to sweep across the sky. It was unavoidable and unstoppable. "Retreat." As the Great Sword Realm opened, a cold voice rang out. Hearing this, the Luan king did not hesitate. He stepped forward and quickly retreated. "Do you think you can leave?" The heavenly devil messenger and the southern head envoy moved and immediately chased after him. However, just as the two of them moved, beams of sword light broke through the sky. There were thousands of them, and they were extremely sharp. Their expressions darkened. They flipped their palms to block the sword light. When they came back to their senses, not far away, the space cracked open. The Luan king walked into it and disappeared. At the same time, the space around the Luan clan's secret realm rippled. The figures of the Luan clan disappeared one by one. They were all sent out of Mount 3 danger. After a few breaths, a few figures appeared outside of Mount 3 danger. The person in the lead was dressed in plain clothes and had white hair. His true essence surged and kept rising. "Senior Luan king, please help me," Ningchen said, looking at the Great Sword Realm in front of him. The Luan king nodded. Her slender hands moved, and a green brilliance rose rapidly. She immediately condensed true essence into her palm and poured it into Ning Chen's body. With the help of the king, the heavenly book in Ning Chen's body was opened one after another. Vast and unparalleled divine might activated the world's most ferocious weapon, reproducing the might of the ancient times. With a boom, thunder rumbled in the sky. Heaven and earth felt it and started to tremble violently. In the next moment, a black ferocious weapon appeared in the Great Sword Realm. It was difficult to distinguish between gold and jade. Its ferocious might shook the sky. With a deep shout, wind and snow split the sky. Ning Chen forcefully activated all of his techniques. The brilliance of the divine restrictions spread rapidly and filled the entire Great Sword Realm. The immortal slaying sword moved, and the immortal trapping sword cried. In the Great Sword Realm, red light filled the sky. The Extreme Sword Realm crazily reaped the lives of the living. Behind him, Dong Yu and Summer Solstice saw this scene. They could not hide the shock on their faces. They more or less knew about young Master's strength, but they did not expect him to be hiding such a shocking trump card. Immemorial First Restriction, Immortal Slaying Sword Formation. Behind Ji Ming, the Luan King's heart was in turmoil. It was hard to believe that there was someone in the human world who could reproduce this immemorial killing formation. The three divine restrictions, the underworld, the passage of time, and the immortal slaying sword, each had their own strengths. However, neither the underworld nor the passage of time were proficient in killing. Only the immortal slaying sword was known to kill millions and was unrivaled in the world. It was said that the true immortal slaying sword formation was mainly composed of the immortal slaying sword, the immortal trapping sword, and the immortal slashing sword. The four swords complemented each other. Even a golden immortal would be defeated. Even though the four swords were never gathered together, the immortal slaying sword alone was enough to kill an emperor and shock the world once the formation was activated. Unfortunately, since the ancient times, the four immortal worlds collapsed and the immortal slaying sword was lost. The legendary immemorial killing formation also disappeared from the world. Feeling the majestic power of the young man in front of him, the Yuan king could not hide the shock on his face. Who exactly was this young man? Not only did he have two divine swords, but he also had such shocking attainments in the three divine restrictions. In front of Mount Sanwei, Ning Chen's eyes became brighter and brighter. He used the extreme state of the sword to activate the two divine swords and recreated the power of the immemorial killing formation. With a deep shout, he activated the Sky Demon's #1 imperial weapon to block the sword. With a loud rumble, the immortal sword and demonic weapon collided. In the ear-piercing vibration, the demonic weapon trembled. Although it blocked the immortal sword, the two weapons were of completely different levels. It was obvious who had the upper hand. The sword power was exhausted. The Sky Demon messenger spat out blood and fell rapidly from the sky. With a bang, dust filled the sky. On the ground, the Sky Demon messenger staggered to his feet. He wiped the blood from his mouth and looked at the sword in the sky in shock. Was this the legendary sword of slaying? It was actually so terrifying. In the king's domain, as the sword light swept across, only a few of the 3,000 soldiers of the underworld army were left. The terrifying sword of slaughter displayed its ancient power. At this moment, outside Mount Sanwei, Ning Chen groaned. Blood dripped from the corner of his mouth. Seeing this, King Yuan immediately withdrew 30% of his power and said in a low voice, "Don't force it. Your body can't withstand so much power." "It's okay." Ning Chen suppressed the injuries in his body and looked at the Sky Demon messenger in the king's domain. He said seriously, "If we let the tiger return to the mountain, there will be endless trouble in the future. We must keep this person here forever. Only then can we bury everything that happened today." "But your body," King Yuan said worriedly. "It's okay. Senior Yuan, don't worry. My body is special. These injuries won't affect me too much." Ning Chen replied. His eyes shone brighter. He opened and closed his hands. The power of the 5 scrolls of the heavenly tomes was raised to the extreme, supporting the immortal sword. Behind him, King Yuan sighed inwardly. He didn't say anything else. He activated his body and poured all of his vital energy into Ning Chen's body. With the two of them working together, the once peaceful Pure Land of the Yuan clan turned into a hell of ghosts. Countless broken limbs were scattered all over the ground. It was extremely horrifying. Not a single one of the 3,000 soldiers of the underworld army was left alive. In the entire sword of slaying, there was only one person left. He was covered in blood and dazzling to the eye. In the sky and on the ground, the immortal slaying and immortal trapping swords hummed softly. Their sword aura spread to every corner of the king's domain, leaving no way out. The commander had died in battle. The commander was both shocked and furious. He activated the heaven-swallowing gourd to protect himself. He kept moving around, not daring to face the sword's head-on. Just as the heavenly demon commander's life was in danger, demonic chi spread rapidly from afar. A terrifying aura shook the entire great world. 7 luminaries demon emperor. Sensing the aura coming from afar, Ning Chen's face darkened slightly. He glanced at the Yuan clan members behind him and made a prompt decision to stop fighting. Retreat! With a deep shout, Ning Chen took back the 2 immortal swords with a flip of his palm. Then he slashed open the void and led the people behind him into it. Not long after they left, demonic clouds loomed over the horizon. A black demonic sun descended from the sky. Within the demonic sun, a figure that could shake the heavens and earth was surrounded by radiance. His imperial aura was terrifying. A shocking palm descended from the sky and shattered the remaining power of the sword formation. The 7 luminaries demon emperor looked at the commander below and said coldly, "Where are they?" The heavenly demon commander looked at the 7 luminaries demon emperor and immediately bowed. He said tiredly, "Demon emperor, they have escaped." The 7 luminaries demon emperor's eyes flickered coldly. He unleashed his divine sense, but withdrew it a moment later and said, "Go to the soul imprisoning pool to receive your punishment after you return." The heavenly demon commander shuddered when he heard the words soul imprisoning pool. He then bowed and said, "Yes, your majesty." The 7 luminaries demon emperor harumphed coldly. He did not say anything else. He soared into the sky and disappeared into the horizon. The heavenly demon commander glanced at the devastated battlefield. He suppressed the injuries in his body and left Mount 3 Danger. An hour after the two left, the void outside Mount 3 Danger rippled. A moment later, a huge crack appeared. A figure in plain clothes walked out, followed by many Luan clan members. Ning Chen staggered a few steps and spat out a mouthful of blood. He had been suppressing his injuries for so long, but the injuries in his body had finally erupted. "Master!" Dong Yu and Xia Zhi's expressions changed slightly. "I'm fine." Ning Chen steadied himself and activated the life scroll to suppress his injuries. He looked at the Luan clan members behind him with a relieved expression. Everything was worth it as long as he could protect the Luan clan. The Luan clan was only in this mess because they were subordinate to the Phoenix clan. As the successor of the Phoenix clan, he could not just sit back and do nothing. Besides, the Luan king had given him a lot of pointers when he first arrived in this realm. "Thank you for saving us, Mr. Ning." At this moment, all the Luan clan members behind the Luan king knelt down and thanked him. Ning Chen immediately helped the Luan king up and said softly, "Senior Luan king, there's no need to be so courteous. It's my duty. This place is no longer safe. Senior, please leave with your people as soon as possible." The Luan king nodded and looked at Mount Sanwei in front of him with reluctance. The Luan clan had lived here for generations. If they left today, it might be forever. Where there's life, there's hope. As long as there are people, there's still hope. Chapter 1087. In the 13th Crown Prince's residence, Ning Chen had been back for a few days. The entire imperial city was unusually calm, so calm that it made people panic. The Luan race had disappeared, and the entire 3 Danger Mountain was scorched. Everyone thought that the Luan race had been exterminated, and they were even more afraid of the celestial devil imperial family. The 4 demon emperors were guarding the primordial demon region, and the world was silent. Although the 100 races were furious, they didn't dare to do anything. In the celestial devil ancestral land, the air froze. The failure of the expedition against the Luan race made the atmosphere very heavy. The kings sealed in the demon source were puzzled when they heard the news. The Luan race only had one king realm expert, the Luan king. How could they have failed with the southern commander and the southern commander? A king said, "We don't know the details yet. According to the secret report, the royal family of the celestial demons suffered heavy losses in this battle. Not only did the commander of the south die, but none of the 3,000 soldiers of the underworld army survived," the second king said. "That's strange." The kings were puzzled. The underworld army was the strongest army of the celestial devil imperial family, and their cultivation was at least above the celestial treading realm. There were also many red dust realm experts. Even a king realm expert would find it difficult to kill them all. There's no need to guess. An unknown expert interfered in the Luan race. At this moment, a majestic voice sounded from the depths of the ancestral land, answering the king's questions. "Brother!" The kings came back to their senses and said respectfully, "Old Ninth has already achieved the sovereign Tao. You guys should work hard too. When I sealed you guys into the devil source, I wanted you guys to have a longer lifespan. Once you gained enlightenment, you would be able to achieve your own Tao. said the first Kunyi demon emperor. The kings fell silent. Nine Nether's talent and comprehension were rare, and he was famous in the ancient times. Everyone believed that he could attain the imperial Tao. In comparison, although they had the same imperial bloodline, their talent was far inferior to Nine Nether's. Brother, what happened in the Wan race? Without an imperial Tao expert, who could have wiped out the 3,000 underworld army of the celestial devil imperial family? The sixth king said, "Immortal slaying sword formation." The first demon emperor said calmly. According to the southern commander, they entered the immortal slaying sword formation and couldn't escape. Immortal slaying sword formation? The fifth king was shocked. Isn't that the killing array that was lost in the four immortal realms beyond the heavens? How did this array appear in the Wan clan? Could it be that a grandmaster has come to my primordial demon realm? The sixth king asked. In the depths of the ancestral land, Demon Emperor Kun-I replied, "There's only one explanation. Previously, in the Dragon Monarch Mountain, there was an unknown expert who interfered in the battle between us and the Dragon Monarch. Now, another unknown expert has appeared in the Wan clan. This is no longer a coincidence. Is it an Emperor Realm expert?" The fifth king asked in a deep voice. "I don't think so." The first Demon Emperor replied, "The Queen Mother of the West seal hasn't been completely broken yet, so the real bodies of emperors can't pass through. If it was just a clone, it wouldn't have been able to do this." Just a king? The six of them frowned and asked, "How can a king intervene in a battle between rulers?" "It's not impossible to take advantage of the situation," the first demon emperor said calmly. "This person hasn't shown himself yet, so I don't know what his cultivation level is. However, I'm sure that this person's attainments in swordsmanship are sky-high, and he has the celestial slaying sword. He's an extremely troublesome enemy." The celestial slaying sword. When the kings heard this, their hearts sank. The treasure of the eastern celestial world, the peerless murderous weapon that could kill millions and slay immortals and demons, had actually appeared. "Brother, I have a suspect." Among the kings, the fourth king, who had been silent all this while, said, "The new disciple of Nine Nether is said to have extraordinary attainments in swordsmanship. Could this unknown expert be him?" The first demon emperor was silent for a moment, then denied it. "I also suspected this person, but the difference in their levels is too great. It's unlikely to be him." "Could it be that he's hiding something?" the fourth king asked. "It's very unlikely." The first demon emperor replied, "Even if the celestial slaying sword is in his hands, it's impossible for him to activate such a large-scale celestial slaying sword formation with his current level. Besides, if the person who attacked in the Dragon Emperor Mountain was this person, it's impossible for me not to sense it. Even so, this person's background is suspicious. Brother, it's best to test him," the fourth king suggested. The first demon emperor nodded and said, "Fourth brother, you're right. I'll find a chance to test this person." At the same time, in the divine capital mountain, one of the few royal families in the primordial demon realm. Today, a handsome young man walked out. His cultivation level was high, and he had already entered the king realm. The saint of the divine capital mountain appeared in a low-key manner and didn't attract anyone's attention. He rushed towards the north. Almost at the same time, the Scale clan, the Stone clan, and the Golden Leo constellation all took action. They accepted the invitation of the sorcerer tribe and sent their descendants there. I would like to remind all of you that now that the two royal families are in trouble, any other tribe could be next. The only way for the five of us to protect ourselves is to form an alliance. Emperor Go, don't you think you're worrying too much? The Scale Emperor said calmly, "The five of us are the royal families after all. Moreover, with the five of us here, even the other tribe would have to think twice before acting. You're underestimating the arrogance of the Sky Demonic Royal family." The Stone Emperor snorted and said, "There's no need to beat around the bush. Everyone knows about the Sky Demonic Royal family's ambition to take over the other tribes. The Sky Demonic Royal family has always wanted to start a war between the primordial demon realm and the heavens beyond. Before that happens, only by unifying the primordial demon realm can we completely solve their worries." Since the truth was out in the open, The 5 emperors no longer had any scruples. In the sky, the Golden Lion tribe leader looked at the Sorcerer tribe leader and said, "Emperor Go, the Sorcerer tribe is the best at predicting the future. Did you see anything?" Emperor Go nodded and said, "In the near future, the primordial demon realm will start a war. Even the 5 royal families will not be spared." The Sky Demonic royal family really dares to attack us? The Holy Master of Fairies' capital Mountain frowned and said, "Emperor Go, what else did you see?" "The future is blurry and I can't see everything clearly. Other than the moment when the royal families were attacked, the only moment I saw was the war between the 2 realms. Moreover, it was the defeat of the primordial demon realm." Emperor Go said. When the 4 emperors heard this, they were shocked. How could it be? Even in the ancient age, the number of primordial demon realm elites was much more than the realm beyond heaven. However, the Lord of the Eastern Celestial World was too powerful. He went deep into the enemy camp alone and killed all the Sky Demonic royal family elites. He almost single-handedly turned the tide of the war between the 2 realms. Now that the 4 celestial worlds were destroyed and the Lord of the Eastern Celestial World who had suppressed the ancient age had fallen, the realm beyond heaven was no match for the primordial demon realm. "That's all I can see. As for the reason, I don't know," Emperor Go said honestly. "The war between the 2 realms is a matter for later. We can't care so much now. The most important thing now is how to deal with the Sky Demonic royal family's wild ambition. If we don't do anything, the 5 of us can only wait for death." The Lord of Fairies' capital Mountain said seriously, "Let's form an alliance." The Golden Lion tribe leader said seriously, "This is the only way. The 5 of us can't fight the Sky Demonic royal family alone. Only by forming an alliance can we fight the 4 demon emperors." Just as the 5 sovereigns were discussing the alliance, the other major tribes of the primordial demon realm were also trying to find ways to protect themselves. In the Green Hill secret territory, the Fox King and the other elders were anxiously waiting for the Heavenly Maiden's return. On the 5th day, outside the Green Hill, Xiao Xiao appeared and walked into the Imperial territory. "How did it go?" the Fox King asked. The Netherworld Demonic Emperor agreed. Xiao Xiao nodded and said seriously. He was sad that his disciple had shown his ability for the first time to deal with the Celestial Devil Imperial family. "Master, you flatter me. I actually don't know much about the Celestial Execution Prohibition. I only saw it once in the Eastern Celestial World and remembered some of its changes. The reason why I was able to open the formation this time was because of the help of the Luan King and the power of the spiritual veins of the 3 Danger Mountain that had existed for tens of thousands of years. Destroying the pure land of the Luan tribe and barely opening the Celestial Execution Prohibition formation once was not a smart move," Ning Chen said honestly. "The divine prohibitions are unpredictable. It's already extraordinary that you were able to set up the Celestial Execution Prohibition formation. But it's a bit too much to destroy the 3,000 soldiers of the underworld. This prohibition is too murderous and has karma on you. It's not good for your cultivation path. You'd better not open it in the future," Xian Jiuyo said seriously. "I'll keep that in mind," Ning Chen nodded. Xian Jiuyo looked at his disciple and said seriously, "Ning Chen, you're my only disciple. I understand your position. I also don't want a war between the 2 realms. So, I can pretend that I don't know what happened these days. But paper can't wrap fire. Do you understand? Especially in the Battle of the Dragon Emperor Mountain, you were also involved. The 3 demon emperors might already be suspicious of you. You must be careful in the future." "I understand." Ning Chen bowed respectfully to the person in front of him and said seriously, "Master, there's something I hope you'll keep in mind. The war between the primeval demon realm and the heavens beyond must not start. Otherwise, not only the human race, but even the primeval demon realm will suffer. I think you don't want to see that happen. I'll do my best to stop it. Don't act rashly. Otherwise, once your identity is exposed, I won't be able to protect you." Xian Jiuyo didn't say anything else. His figure faded away and disappeared. In front of the royal palace, Ning Chen looked at the disappearing demonic qi in the void and sighed softly. Being able to reveal his identity made him feel a little more relaxed. No matter what his stance was, he would always remember the ninth underworld king's protection. A cold wind blew and the night was slightly chilly. Ningchen looked at the surging wind and clouds in the imperial city. His expression gradually calmed down and his eyes flashed. He had been in the primeval demon realm for many years. The more he understood this world, the more he felt powerless. The number of primeval demon realm cultivators was much higher than the heavens beyond, especially the cultivators above the 4th level. They were many levels higher than the heavens beyond. The divine prohibition space that had already reached its limit finally could not withstand the terrifying power. Tens of thousands of seals collapsed. Huge cracks appeared and spread out for tens of thousands of feet. Boom! Suddenly, the black moon and the white sun above Ningchen's hands exploded with an unparalleled force. At the moment when Ningchen could no longer withstand it, he made a prompt decision. He activated his ultimate vitality and sent the sun and the moon into the sky. In the next moment, a shocking scene occurred. In the sky above the 3 imperial cities, the power of yin and yang clashed with each other. The entire sky was filled with wind and clouds, and the world was constantly shaking. In an instant, the forces in the 3 imperial cities looked at the sky with shock. It's that disciple of the 9 underworlds. In the heavenly demon ancestral land, the 7 luminaries demon emperor and the 8 desolation demon emperor looked at the rolling dark clouds in the sky. They could not hide the shock in their eyes. What an incredible young man. The first demon emperor's eyes darkened as he said coldly. At the same time, in the crown prince's residence, Xianzhen was standing outside the imperial palace. He narrowed his eyes as he looked at the shocking scene in the distance. This 13th brother of his had truly surprised him time and time again. "Brother, we can't delay any longer," the 5th prince said in a deep voice. The longer they delayed, the stronger the 13th prince's wings would be. At that time, it would not be so easy to get rid of him. "Don't worry, the opportunity will come soon," Xianzhen said calmly. "Elder brother, what is the opportunity you're talking about?" the 5th prince asked with a slight frown. "Wedding," Xianzhen said calmly. The sleepless night slowly passed under the shocked gazes of everyone in the imperial city. The next day, the sun shone from the east and chased away the coldness of the night. As the sky lit up, an imperial edict was sent to the 13th prince's residence. The demon emperor had summoned everyone to the 3 emperors' palace. The majestic sacred palace was located at the end of the 9,000 stone steps. The 3 majestic palaces were located in a triangular formation. It was majestic and magnificent. Ningchen walked up the stone steps. His expression was calm and tranquil, without the slightest change. Ningchen walked over from the central emperor palace. The moment he stepped into the palace, 3 illusory voices appeared in front of the throne. Yin mist floated around them and covered their appearances. "Greetings, 3 demon emperors." Ningchen bowed and said respectfully, "You may rise." The first demon emperor spoke from the middle of the 3 demon emperors. "Thank you, demon emperor." Ningchen said calmly as he stood up. "Do you know why I summoned you here?" The first demon emperor asked calmly. "I don't know." Ningchen shook his head. "I summoned you here for your marriage with the Fox Clan's princess. Your master and I have already agreed with the Fox Clan. You can choose a date for your marriage with the Fox Clan's princess." The first Kunyi demon emperor said calmly. Ningchen heard this and couldn't help but frown. What was to come had finally come. Knowing that it was useless to refuse, Ningchen didn't waste any more words. He bowed again and said respectfully, "Yes. I will discuss with your master on the day of the wedding. Before that, don't leave the imperial city. Do you understand?" The first demon emperor said. Ningchen replied again. "Do you have any objections?" The first demon emperor asked calmly. Ningchen shook his head lightly. "Then go back and prepare," the first demon emperor said. "I will take my leave." Ningchen stepped forward and bowed. Then he turned around and walked out of the palace. Jiming left. On the left side of the throne, the 7 Brilliance demon emperor looked at the former's back and said seriously, It went unexpectedly well. I thought he might not agree. They had more or less learned about their 13th brother's personality. He had strong principles and wasn't someone who could be easily swayed. When the 100 races came, the princess of the Fox clan had mentioned their 13th brother's marriage with Miss One. They could tell that their 13th brother wasn't enthusiastic about the marriage. Therefore, they didn't expect their 13th brother to agree to the marriage. He's a smart man. He knows that it's useless to refuse, so he won't waste his energy. However, I won't be surprised if he leaves the Imperial City during this time, the first Demon Emperor said calmly. I hope he won't do something stupid, the 7 Brilliance Demon Emperor said coldly. 3 days later, in the Green Hills Secret Realm, the Sky Demon Royal Envoy arrived and delivered the Demon Emperor's Imperial Edict to the Fox clan. The Fox King looked at the Imperial Edict in his hand and couldn't hide the excitement in his eyes. The day he had been waiting for had finally arrived. The world was in chaos. The 100 races were in danger. The Fox clan wasn't as strong as the other royal tribes. Marriage was the best way to protect themselves. In a bamboo yard in front of the pond, Xiao Xiao looked at the woman in front of her and said softly, The Imperial Edict has been delivered. Are you still worried? Turned around and shook her head. It's not that I'm worried, I'm just wondering if it's the right thing to do. I can tell that young Master Ning doesn't agree to the marriage. It's selfish of us to force him like this. Xiao Xiao sighed and said, Don't think too much about it. Since the Imperial Edict has been delivered, you just need to prepare to marry into the Crown Prince's residence. It's useless to think too much about other things. Nodded. She looked away and continued to look at the pond outside the yard. This was the only time she wouldn't force him to do anything he didn't want to do. Boundless divine might shook the heavens and the earth. Yin and Yang were separated, heaven and earth were divided. The second style of the divine scroll possessed boundless might. The moment the sun and moon merged, a berserk impact force surged. Time and space became chaotic, and it was difficult to withstand its might. Just as the power of Yin and Yang was about to go out of control again, demonic chi surged around Ning Chen's body. The demonic body materialized, and his hands tore the void apart as the 6 heavenly demon arts appeared. Eternal exile. The ultimate move of the devil style, eternal banishment. The moment the void split open, Ning Chen did not hesitate at all. He raised his hand and sent Black Moon and White Sun into the turbulent space. Rumble. Space trembled violently. In an instant, the world returned to normal, as if nothing had happened. The demonic body dispersed and returned to its original form. From beginning to end, it did not say a single word. Ning Chen descended from the sky and waved his hand to disperse the divine restriction. There was a serious look in his eyes. Wrong. Something must have gone wrong. Cough, cough. At this moment, a violent cough could be heard from the room in the backyard. It was weak but clear. Ning Chen's eyes narrowed. He temporarily suppressed his thoughts and walked towards the room in front of him. With a creak, the door opened. Ning Chen looked at the figure in the room who was struggling to sit up. He said calmly, Your body is still very weak. It's best if you don't get up. Song Ming raised his head and looked at the person in front of him. Murderous intent flashed across his eyes as he asked in a deep voice, Why? No reason. I just don't want you to die for the time being. Ning Chen did not explain. He could not let too many people know about his identity, especially those whom he could not trust completely. One day, I will make all of you pay for the annihilation of my family. Song Ming could not suppress his hatred as he said coldly, If you want to take revenge, you'd better recover quickly. You're in such a sorry state now that I'm not interested in fighting you. Ning Chen said coldly before he turned around and walked out of the room. The door was closed with a bang. In the room, Song Ming's expression became gloomier. He did not know why this person saved him, but the person who led the army to annihilate the Howling Moon royal family was the 13th prince of the Heavenly Demon royal family. Your Highness, the 9th prince wishes to see you. As soon as Ning Chen walked out of the room, a guard came from the backyard and said respectfully, Let him in. Ning Chen was surprised as he replied, The guard accepted the order and left quickly. In the front hall, Ning Chen stood quietly and waited. Soon, Xian Ke walked in. His slightly gloomy face now had a hint of calmness. Ninth brother. Ning Chen went forward and bowed politely. The door of the Crown Prince's residence opened, and Ning Chen walked out. He flew into the air and entered the horse carriage. In the next moment, the wild beast galloped and headed east. Chapter 1091. The first rays of the morning sun shone on the ground. Above the three royal city, demonic clouds surged. Within the demonic clouds, wild beasts pulled the carriage, and the bridal procession lined up behind. Ning Chen appeared in front of the Crown Prince's residence. He took a step and flew into the carriage. After a while, the wild beasts galloped towards the east. In the primordial demon region, everyone looked towards the sky. The Crown Prince's bridal procession was a big event that had not happened in the heavenly demons for hundreds of years. In the carriage, Ning Chen, who was dressed in a black groom's robe, sat quietly. His eyes were calm, and there were not many changes in them. In front of the carriage, three wild beasts rode on the clouds at an extremely fast speed. Behind them, the bridal procession followed. It was a grand procession, showing the majesty of the royal family. The sun rose higher and higher. The bridal procession drove past the primordial demon region, rushing towards the Green Hill. At the same time, the Green Hill's secret territory was decorated with lanterns and colored banners. There was a festive atmosphere everywhere. The wedding of the princess was a joyous occasion for the entire Green Hill. Everyone's face was full of smiles. In the green bamboo courtyard, a girl in red makeup was putting red flowers on the mirror. The mirror reflected her beautiful face. It was so beautiful that it was intoxicating. Beside her, Xiao Xiao looked at her younger sister. Her eyes flashed. Today, Wan was getting married. Sister, do I look good? Wan turned around and looked at her elder sister behind her. She smiled sweetly. Yes. Today, our Wan is the most beautiful girl in the world. Xiao Xiao came back to her senses and said with a smile. Sister, you are the most beautiful person. Wan smiled happily. Xiao Xiao gently stroked her sister's long hair and said with a smile, we are sisters. Sister is beautiful, so of course I am beautiful too. Outside the courtyard, the Fox King walked over. He stopped in front of the courtyard and looked at the two people in the room. He had mixed feelings. Perhaps, this was how a mother felt when witnessing her daughter's marriage. It was both joy and sadness. Wan had always been obedient and reasonable. She did not fight for anything. That was why her two daughters had such a good relationship. It was rare to see this in the royal family. In the previous generation, the siblings had fought to the death for the position of the Fox King. Thinking about it now, it was still chilling. Mother is here. Xiao Xiao felt the gaze behind her. She turned around and looked at the people outside the courtyard. Hearing the reminder, Wan looked over. When she saw her mother outside the small courtyard, a smile appeared on her face. Mother! The Fox King smiled and walked to the bamboo house in the courtyard. Xian Zhan flipped his palm, and demonic qi surged in the sky as he slapped forward with all his might, intending to destroy the Imperial Domain's array. With an earth-shattering bang, the King's Domain's grand formation was broken. The three late-stage King's Domain experts rushed in without stopping for even a moment. Prepare to meet the enemy. In the Imperial Domain, the Fox King looked at the changes in the sky and said in a deep voice, yes. One after another, the Fox Elders appeared and charged into the sky, ready to meet the enemy. In the next moment, four figures appeared in the sky above the Imperial Domain. The one in the lead was dressed in black and had long hair. He held a black spear in his hand, and his demonic might was terrifying. The War King. The Fox King's expression changed when he saw who had arrived. How could it be him? He was a famous King Realm expert of the Celestial Demon clan, and he had never tasted defeat in his life. Many people believed that the War King was almost on par with the legendary 9th Underworld King, and he would definitely attain the Emperor's Dao in the future. In the sky, the Fox Elders' expressions changed when they saw the Battle King's figure. This king's reputation was simply too resounding. Everyone in the world knew who he was. Below, the Fox King's figure flashed and arrived in front of the Fox Elders. He looked at the peerless king descending from the sky and said in a deep voice, "War King, the Fox clan has no enmity with you. You should know why you made this choice. Today is the day of the marriage between the Fox clan and the celestial demon Imperial clan. I'm sure the 13th prince's escort team will arrive soon. The Fox clan indeed has no enmity with me. However, someone wants the 13th prince dead, so you can only die with him." The War King looked at them and said indifferently. Then he waved his right hand and said calmly, "End this quickly. Don't waste time." The three kings obeyed the order and rushed forward. The Fox King's face sank, and killing intent appeared in his beautiful eyes. He formed Yuan with his slender hand and slapped at the three. "Your opponent is me." As he spoke, the War King appeared in front of him. His black spear pierced through the air and pierced toward the former. With a clang, the slender hand shook the demon spear, and a shocking vibration spread out. The Fox King took half a step back and was at a slight disadvantage. After gaining the upper hand in one move, the War King's figure advanced even further. His black spear contained boundless demonic might as he formed another killing move. The two kings clashed, and their auras shook the sky. Not far away, the three demon race experts were fighting against the Fox clan elders. The absolute suppression of strength put the Fox clan elders in danger. After exchanging more than 10 moves, the Fox King glanced at the Fox clan elders who were in danger and his heart sank. It seemed that the Fox clan would not be able to avoid the calamity today. "Don't fight. Take Xiao Xiao and Wan and leave." In order to protect the last of the Fox clan's bloodline, the Fox King took the attack head-on and blasted away the Battle King in front of him. His figure flashed across the battlefield and blocked the attacks of the three King realm experts. "King!" The elders' expressions changed as they said anxiously, "King is right. Leave quickly. King and I will hold them back." The Grand Elder of the Fox tribe stepped forward and blocked the attacks of the three kings as he shouted anxiously, "We need help here. There's no place for us in the new era. Why don't we have a final battle?" Another elder of the Fox clan rushed forward. The white-haired old woman, the second elder of the Fox clan, chose to stay behind without any hesitation. "We're old too. We won't leave." One Fox clan elder after another chose to stay. The glory of the Fox clan was not to be blasphemed. The Fox clan elder, who was ranked last among the elders, had tears in her eyes as she looked at the elders who chose to stay. She steeled her heart and left, heading toward the small courtyard where the two princesses were. The Fox clan's inheritance could not be cut off. The two princesses were the last hope of the Fox clan. She had to do everything she could to bring the two princesses out of the king's domain. In the air, the Fox King and the other 6 elders blocked the attacks of the War King and the 3 demon race kings, not allowing the demons to take half a step forward. 7th Elder, "I'll leave Xiao Xiao and Wan for you." As the final instructions entered his ears, the 7th Elder of the Fox clan could not help but tear up. His figure became faster and faster as he rushed towards the small green bamboo courtyard. After a few breaths, the 7th Elder arrived at the courtyard. He stepped forward and pulled the two princesses out of the king's domain. 7th Elder, what's going on? Xiao Xiao looked at the battle in the sky and asked anxiously. Don't ask too much. Come with me. Don't let down the sacrifice of the king and the elders. The 7th Elder pulled the two princesses out of the king's domain. But mother, Xiao Xiao said anxiously, your safety is the most important thing. I'll come back to help after I send you out of the king's domain. The 7th Elder replied and rushed toward the forbidden grounds of the king's domain with the two princesses. The forbidden grounds were filled with yin qi. When the three arrived, Xiao Xiao and Wan looked at the entire forbidden grounds in shock. It was their first time here. Only their mother and a few elders could enter the forbidden grounds of the Fox clan. Even they didn't have the right to enter. With a flip of his hand, he shattered the illusory formation in front of him. A complex spatial formation appeared in the forbidden grounds. Runes spread out in all directions. Let's go. Ning Chen scanned with his divine sense and did not see any traces of the two girls. He calmed down and looked at the sky with unconcealable murderous intent. You deserve to die 10,000 times. With the demonic weapon in his hand, Ning Chen's sword intent surged out and boundless sword pressure swept through the world. Leave this brat to me. I'll leave the rest to you. The Battle King said coldly in the air. His figure flashed as his black demonic spear pierced through the air. Ning Chen swung his sword to meet the demonic spear. With a clang, the ground beneath his feet cracked and dust surged as the ground caved in. Peak Kings were unparalleled. Their cultivation was more than one major realm higher, so this battle was unfair from the start. Ning Chen's right hand split open and blood seeped out, dyeing his black robe red. However, the sword warrior's soul burned even more fiercely. Sword chi surged and shot into the sky. Your sword technique isn't bad, but you'll still die. The Battle King snorted coldly as he added 30% more power to his spear. At the same time, his left palm slapped toward Ning Chen. Let's talk about who lives and who dies when we meet the King of Hell. As he spoke, the murderous intent in Ning Chen's eyes intensified. Demonic flames rose around him as the 9 underworld battle technique appeared once more. He used his peerless foundation and the flying swan technique to meet the Battle King's attack head-on. With a rumble, demonic might shook the world. 2 peerless geniuses from different eras of the Heavenly Demon clan clashed head-on, and the terrifying shockwaves spread out 1,000 miles. While the 2 heavenly demons fought, another slaughter occurred not too far away. 2 King Realm heavenly demons slaughtered the wedding procession. Even if they were from the same clan, they didn't show any mercy. Look at all these people. They're all dead because of you. 13th Prince, only your death will put an end to this conflict. Don't you know that? These words entered Ning Chen's ears. However, Ning Chen's resolute heart didn't waver in the slightest as he faced the storm of attacks. When he saw that Ning Chen wasn't moved, the Battle King didn't say anything else. He stomped his foot and demonic chi surged into the sky as he gathered all his strength to kill the young man before him. He slapped his palm towards Ning Chen's chest. Ning Chen didn't dodge. The 9 transformations appeared in front of his chest and merged it with the Imperial technique to block the Battle King's attack head-on. Ning Chen spat out a mouthful of blood, but he didn't take even half a step back. His demonic sword light pierced through the sky as he forcefully counterattacked. It possessed the power to destroy the heavens and extinguish the earth, instantly annihilating the peerless king-level figures. The rumbling shook the small world. After a moment, the ferocious beast's head broke through the tens of thousands of swords and rushed toward the knowing destiny state. In the air, Ning Chen's sword turned and pointed downwards. Suddenly, the boundless sword aura changed direction and rushed towards the head of the ferocious beast. With a loud rumble, the sword radiance tore through the void and collided with the vicious beast's head. Amidst the shockingly great vibration, the beast's head was scattered and its remaining power was completely dispersed. Below, Xianzhan narrowed his eyes slightly as he gazed at the white-haired figure surrounded by sword intent. The Lord of a Small World was truly extraordinary. In this sword world, this child's attack and defense would be greatly enhanced, and his battle prowess would increase greatly. In addition, the black demonic flames surrounding this boy should be the appearance of the legendary 9 Underworlds battle technique. With such shocking strength at such a young age, it was no wonder that the Crown Prince and the 5th Prince wanted him to fight personally. The energy of a small world was something that even King Realm experts found difficult to grasp. This child hadn't even entered the King Realm yet, but he had already grasped such power. Unfortunately, this child had encountered him today. Wraith Realm, Tianho. With a growl, the Wraith Realm appeared. The energy of the small world around Xianzhan spread out rapidly. In an instant, 100 ghosts appeared and evil filled the sky. The Great Sword World and the Wraith Realm collided with each other. Shocking forces collided, and a myriad of swords slashed 100 ghosts. Yin Qi shot into the sky. They were both lords of small worlds, but when they cultivated one type of power to the limit, they would be able to create their own world. The demonic qi around Xianzhan grew colder and colder. The entire world seemed to be frozen, and it was difficult to move. Ning Chen's face froze. He looked at the black-clothed figure before him and clenched his left hand. His profound solution materialized, and a second demonic sword appeared. Even though the 9th Hell Demon Emperor has taught you the 9th Hell Battle Technique and the profound Solution 9 transformations, your strength is still insufficient to contend against me. Today, the Green Hill Fox clan will be your burial ground, Xianzhan said coldly. Xianzhan said coldly. Ghostly avatars coiled around him. Streaks of white phantoms appeared. Their gloomy aura was chilling. Ning Chen ignored them. He stepped off the ground and shot out instantly. The two demonic swords tore through the obstruction of the Yin Qi and slashed towards the king before him. The two swords clashed with the demonic spear. The two demons clashed once more. Chapter 1094. In the Battle of Green Hill, the sword shocked the gods. With the help of Flying Swan, Tai shook the world. It was an earth-shattering move. As the sword light flashed, the world collapsed. Behind it, the sword waves surged, destroying everything in its path. It was incomparably beautiful. There was only one sword in the world. Nothing else existed. Not far away, the expressions of the two King Realm heavenly demons froze. Their eyes reflected this shocking sword strike, and they could not look away. This sword only existed in the 9 heavens. How could the human world see it? Before the Green Mountain, Xianzhan stared at the extreme streak of light that had traveled through time and space. He no longer had the energy to think about anything else. Fear, discrimination, pride. Everything vanished at that moment, turning into endless battle intent. The power of the myriad realm was pushed to the limit. Demonic qi surged around Xianzhan like raging waves. He clenched his fists and roared at the sky. In an instant, his 1,000-meter-tall demonic body rose into the air and smashed down with both fists. The final sword, the final move. The final clash between the two most powerful people of the two eras. The collision of extreme power caused the world to dim. Boom. Amidst a world-shocking explosion that shook the heavens and the earth, raging waves swept out rapidly, and everywhere the aftershock passed, everything in the world was instantly obliterated into nothingness. Ugh! Outside the battle, the two kings who were affected by the destructive power were sent flying thousands of feet away. Blood flowed, dyeing their bodies red. Who won? The two staggered a few steps before stabilizing themselves. They looked at the battle ahead nervously. They were very anxious. The undercurrent shook violently. In the aftermath, two figures stood upright. Their battle suits were stained with blood. At this moment, none of them were in good condition. Ugh! Suddenly, a beam of sword qi broke out of Xianzhan's chest, bringing with it a brilliant waterfall of blood. The flowing blood dyed his black clothes red. Xianzhan staggered. He looked ahead in disbelief. He had lost. He had won this battle, but he had lost the final move. If he gave the young man another 100 years, no, even 10 years, this move would have taken his life. Clang. The demonic sword stabbed into the ground. Half of Zhi Ming's blood had been burned away. His true essence dissipated rapidly. He couldn't allow the swordsman to fall to the ground with his last dignity. On the other side, Xianzhan suppressed his heavy injuries and walked forward with great difficulty. He looked at the person before him and said in a hoarse voice, "I won't say anything to spare your life." Even the 9 Serenities demon emperor of the past could not do such a thing, let alone the current generation. Chapter 1095. The king's domain of Qingqiu was completely destroyed after the catastrophe. Everything within 10,000 miles was in ruins. Corpses were everywhere inside and outside the king's domain. Blood dyed every inch of the land red. A cold wind blew, and blood-stained dust flew into the air. At this moment, demonic qi surged in the sky. A majestic figure walked out of thin air. Looking at the miserable scene below, he was shocked. How could this be? Xianzhuyo was shocked. Today was Ning Chen's wedding day. This shouldn't be happening. Xianzhuyo scanned with his divine sense. He sensed his disciple's barely detectable fire of life. He stepped out and rushed down. Ning Chen. Beside the demonic sword was a blood-stained figure. His flame of life was extremely weak now. In order to fight a powerful enemy at the peak of the King realm, he burned half of his blood and chi to perform the Flying Swan formula to its fullest and burst out an attack 10 times stronger than before. Furthermore, he forced himself to activate the sovereign law that was far beyond what he could bear. Even though he was protected by the origin of the divine tree, his knowing destiny stage body couldn't withstand it at this moment. Ha! With a deep voice, Xianjuyo guided the sovereign Tao extreme essence around him. The vigorous origin energy continuously poured into Xianjuyo's body. After a while, Xianjuyo stopped and was about to leave with Ning Chen, who was still unconscious. Juyo! At this moment, a desolate aura spread in the sky. The 8 Desolation demonic emperor walked out. Looking at the figure below, he said, "Please let me bring him back. I sense the Phoenix Master's aura here. He might have seen something. He's my disciple. I should be the one asking questions." Xianjuyo said coldly. He didn't say anything else. He took a step forward and left the king's domain. The 8 Desolation demonic emperor frowned. Looking at the two leaving, light flashed in his eyes. Juyo was too protective of his disciple. At the same time, Xianjun stood in front of the imperial palace in the crown prince's residence. He looked in the direction of the king's domain. Something seemed to have happened. "Brother." The 5th prince walked over. Looking at the figure outside the palace, he asked in confusion, "What's wrong?" "Something happened to Qingqiu," Xianjun said seriously. The 5th prince frowned and said, "Qingqiu was going to be exterminated anyway. What's wrong with that?" "I'm not talking about the Green Hill Foxes, but Xianzhan and the others." Xianjun said in a low voice, "Your cultivation is still low, so you can't feel the changes in Qingqiu. Just now, I felt a wave of emperor-level pressure. It's terrifying, even more powerful than my father." "How is this possible?" The 5th prince's expression changed slightly as he said in disbelief, "It's impossible for the Green Hill Foxes to have an emperor-level expert. Otherwise, this clan wouldn't be in such a hurry to form a marriage alliance with our celestial demonic royal clan to protect themselves." Xianzhen nodded and said, "Indeed, it's not the Green Hill Fox clan's aura, but it's also not the emperors of the other royal clans. I've never seen this aura before. It's very unfamiliar." The 5th prince frowned when he heard this, and he said, "Could it be that Imperial Brother is mistaken? There are only a few Imperial Realm experts in this world, and it's impossible for there to be any other Imperial Realm experts." "I hope so." Xianzhen looked away, but he still couldn't hide the worry in his eyes. He had already used the warlord as a chess piece, and if he still couldn't get rid of the 13th prince, then the loss would outweigh the gain. The 5th prince looked at his elder brother's worried expression, and he started to have a bad feeling. He knew his elder brother's personality very well, and he wouldn't say anything unless he was 90% sure. Could it be that something had really happened to the warlord? Just as the crown prince and the 5th prince felt that something was wrong, in the palace of Juyo King's mansion, time and space twisted, and Xianjuyo returned with Ning Chen, who was severely injured and unconscious. Half of his blood chi had been burned, and most of his meridians had been destroyed by the backlash of the Imperial Realm power. His severe injuries were shocking. Xianjuyo flipped his palm and lifted Ning Chen's body, and blood chi spread out from his body. He used blood to replenish Ning Chen's blood, and demonic flames rose to reforge his body. The demonic blood entered Ning Chen's body, and at this moment, a shocking scene occurred. A strong repulsive force came from Ning Chen's body, and it forcefully expelled the demonic blood. Xianjuyo's eyes narrowed. How could this be? This lad could integrate with the power of the heavenly demon pool, so why couldn't he contain his demonic blood? In the void, Ning Chen's body floated up and down. The powerful force that had just expelled the demonic blood turned into endless vitality, and it spread to every inch of Ning Chen's meridians, repairing his severely injured body. This is... Xianjuyo was shocked. The power of the immortal spirit. Could it be that this lad, like him, had taken something like the elixir of immortality? In that case, this lad's body wasn't rejecting his demonic blood, but the power of the deity flower that he had taken before. The power of the immortal spirit couldn't coexist. After taking it once, it couldn't be used a second time. Otherwise, the two powers would collide with each other, and the host would explode and die. While Xianjuyo was thinking, in the void, Ning Chen's body shone with a strange light. The immortal tree of God was revived under the stimulation of the deity flower, and it automatically saved its master. Chapter 1096. The situation in the 9 underworlds royal palace changed as the 3 demon emperors tried to force the owner of the 9 underworlds royal palace to hand over knowing destiny. Xianjuyo stood in their way and refused to back down. His peerless prowess caught everyone's attention. The situation was in a stalemate, and a battle was about to break out. The 3 demon emperors refused to back down as they wanted to know the Phoenix Master's secret. They were determined to take the only survivor of the Qingqiu royal territory. If that's the case, then I'm sorry, royal brother. The first Kuan demon emperor said as he raised his right hand. Demonic clouds surged in the sky above the royal palace as the supreme royal Tao descended. The 7 luminaries demon emperors and the 8 desolation demon emperors looked serious as they faced the peerless prodigies of the heavenly demons. Today I, Xianjuyo, would like to challenge my 3 royal brothers. Demonic flames rose from Xianjuyo's body. His powerful demonic aura shook the heavens and the earth, sinking thousands of miles into darkness. The 4 demon emperors started the battle. The array buried underground in the 3rd royal palace was activated as a rune spread across the city, protecting this immortal demon city. Let's go somewhere else. The 8 desolation demon emperors spoke as the 3,000 small worlds started to circulate and devoured the 4. Earth fire spewed out of the primitive small world as black smoke billowed. Cracks crisscrossed the ground as lava flowed through them. The primitive world seemed to have yet to evolve. It was dead silent everywhere without any signs of life. Only the flames spewing out of the sky and the music of hell could be heard. Xianjuyo looked around without any change in his expression. He clenched his right hand, and a long spear surrounded by demonic flames appeared. Although it was formed by demonic aura and laws, its demonic aura wasn't any weaker than any weapon. The 7 luminaries demon emperor was the first to move. He raised his hand, and the 4 suns rose into the sky. The black sun kept circling in the sky as its dim light shone on every corner of the small world. Xianjuyo stood proudly under the light of the demonic suns. The demonic flames around him blocked the tearing power of the demonic light. The 8 desolation demon emperor yelled as the earth fire gathered in the primitive small world and turned into giant fire dragons that tried to devour Xianjuyo. This was a battle on a completely different level. With every move, the laws of heaven and earth were used. The 2 demon monarchs displayed heaven-defying abilities, shocking everyone. In the battle, the magma fire dragon was about to devour the heavens and earth. Xianjuyo raised his left hand and grabbed one of the fire dragons and threw it out. At the same time, the demonic spear pierced through space and time. The demonic spear pierced through the demonic might and shattered the 2 fire dragons. The 3 fire dragons were destroyed, and the last rock fire dragon swallowed the peerless emperor with its destructive power. With a honglong sound, a world-shaking tremor sounded. Waves of flames pervaded the air and fell like rain. Amidst the rain of fire, demonic threads crisscrossed around Xianjuyo's body. It was an absolute defense that blocked the attack of the rock fire dragon. 9 underworlds battle technique, flying swan art, imperial technique, 1 for offense and 1 for defense, unparalleled in the world. In the battle, the first demon emperor was the only one who didn't make a move. He narrowed his eyes and raised his right hand. In an instant, outside the small world, above the 3 imperial city, the turbulent demonic clouds disappeared, and they returned to the primitive world. It was a shocking ability to draw the power of the large world into a small world that didn't belong to him. It was a powerful ability that no one could match, and it instantly made the small world even more terrifying. With a honglong sound, thunder rumbled above the 9 heavens. Layers of thunderbolts descended upon the mortal world and blasted toward the peerless geniuses below. Xianjuyo raised his head and punched with his right hand. He didn't dodge, and he directly punched toward the sky. The power to blast the sky shattered the void, and 80,000 miles of space and time collapsed. The entire sky above the small world instantly fell into darkness. 3 against 1, the peerless geniuses of the heavenly demon clan weren't at a disadvantage at all. Their extremely powerful combat power blasted away all obstacles. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor and the 8 Baron Demon Emperor looked ahead, and their expressions became more solemn. They knew very well how powerful Xianjuyo was. Throughout the history of the Heavenly Demon Clan, it was difficult to find someone who was as talented as Juyo. The current Juyo not only had the powerful foundation of the Heavenly Demon 9 transformations, but also the terrifying combat power of the 9 underworlds battle technique. In terms of talent, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to call him the #1 person in the history of the Heavenly Demon Clan. There's no need to hold back. My 3 brothers should still have some strength left. Xianjuyo glanced at the 3 of them and said calmly, "Excuse me." The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor and the 8 Baron Demon Emperor responded and released all of their cultivation techniques. Powerful demonic chi shot into the sky, and extreme demonic power swept out in all directions. The 7 luminaries demon illuminated the world. 7 luminaries demon suns appeared in the sky at the same time, and the entire small world collapsed violently, unable to withstand the extreme imperial power. The 7 luminaries appeared, and the 8 barren fire dragons appeared at the same time, destroying the world. 8 huge fire dragons rushed out of the doomsday and attacked the peerless geniuses in front. At the same time, the first Kuan Demon Emperor also activated his peerless foundation. Chaotic demonic chi was like 1,000 waves, and the most primitive power blasted the doomsday and pressed forward. The 3 emperors worked together, and their extreme power reached the sky. In the battle, Xianjuyo roared and stomped angrily, and the ground rose into the sky. Profound solution. The call was heard, and the white-haired figure floating in the 9 underworlds' royal palace shot out beams of light toward the small world in the distance. In the collapsing small world, the profound solution 9 changes returned and turned into a long spear, which went into the hands of the former. With the demonic weapon, Xianjuyo's aura changed immediately. He and the spear became one. The spear pierced through the sky, and the forbidden space in front of the Demon Emperor was destroyed. It was an absolute domain, and time and everything disappeared. The attack of the 3 emperors clashed with the absolute domain, and the most terrifying power in the world exploded, destroying the entire small world in an instant. Ugh! The 8 Baron Demon Emperor was the first to bear the brunt of the attack. His body shook, and cracks appeared on his body. On the other side, the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor was knocked back a few steps, and the blood in his body rolled violently. He was severely injured. Among the 4, Xianjuyo and the first Kuan Demon Emperor, the 2 most powerful emperors, didn't even take half a step back after bearing the brunt of the battle. Suddenly, blood gushed out from their chests. The brunt of the attack injured them at the same time. One attack for another. Juyo, you have no chance of winning. The first Kuan Demon Emperor waved his hand to stop the blood from flowing out of his chest. He looked forward and said calmly. Xianjuyo didn't say anything. The demonic flames around him burned even more fiercely. The flying swan appeared and strengthened the demonic weapon. While the 4 demon emperors of the heavenly demons were fighting, the white-haired figure floated in the 9 underworlds' royal palace. The light around him became more and more dazzling. The origin of the undying peach tree was at the knowing destiny state. The wounds on Ning Chen's body healed at a visible speed. Even the blood he had lost was quickly recovered by the powerful life origin of the undying divine tree. Once he transformed and reached the peak, the barriers before the red dust realm started to crack. The legendary 4th realm seemed to be within his reach at this moment. The white-haired figure stood quietly in the space of consciousness. An ancient giant stone gate sat in front of him.